This is the Boys Gen V podcast from TV Podcast Industries. We're talking about Gen V Season 2, Episode 5, The Kids Are Not All Right.
Maria, I thought you were going to rip me apart. What you did to me. Cipher was right. About you. About your powers.
He's not.
Marie!
He's not right.
I beg to differ. I'm pretty right. So what was that like for you? Your powers heightened, stronger than they've ever been. Terrifying, I'm sure, but also exhilarating, yeah? Exciting, stimulating, thrilling. Just throw together a few synonyms and humor me.
Welcome back, fellow girls and boys, to the Gen V podcast from TV Podcast Industries. We're back on the 5th episode of Gen V Season 2, The Kids Are Not All Right. I'm one of your hosts, Derek.
And rounding out this duo of dynamic Gen Vers, I am Chris.
Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you.
We have been joking about the fact that yourself and John are never on the same podcast, so you're actually just the same person impersonating each other's accents.
Yeah, and neither of them are good.
Yeah. So could you give us your best John there?
Cold blind? No. Wait, hold on. I was going to do the whole core blindy cockney.
Yeah. No. He's a northern Englishman, Chris.
Yeah.
If you don't know, after 20 years of knowing him, he's a northern
I'm just trying to think of, I'm trying to put myself into Mr. Harrison. Let me put myself into the mindset. Bangles and mash.
No, that won't work.
No,
Again,
no.
I think maybe what's happening here is that, like Jordan, you are two distinct personalities sharing the same body and not the same accents. I think that's really what's happening.
Wait, does that make you my husband too? Well, technically you're my work husband. You were my work husband at one point.
Yes, but no, two distinct personalities, both of you allowed to marry who you choose to marry.
Okay, cool.
There you go.
There you go. This works.
That's what I'd say. It works. But welcome back, everybody, to our chats all about Gen V. We got a bit of feedback in for the last couple of episodes. We're going to kick off the podcast with starting off with a voicemail in from one of our wonderful listeners, Jerome.
Hi, John, Derek, and this time, Chris. I didn't forget you. Hey, I've been watching you guys for so long. I know maybe this is a repeated message, but you guys are great. And I listen to you guys every morning, all your stuff, for years now. And I want to get more involved. I'm not that tech savvy, but I wish I could get more involved and well, I am a subscriber, so I'm not saying I subscribe, but I just want to be able to interact a little more. And hey, questions. Are you going to be doing anything on the House of Guinness?
Thanks so much for sending the voicemail in, Jerome. It's so good to hear one of our wonderful listeners. It's a great way to get in contact with us if you don't have the ability to email us in, or if you don't want to contact us through the Facebook group. Go on over to our website at tvpodcastindustries.com and you record a quick 90-second clip, and then we can hear your voice like you hear us all the time as well. Chris, are we going to cover House of Guinness?
No.
No, we are not.
No, we are not. We already have multiple variations of reasons being time.
We're also a bit behind on the stuff that we're covering anyway.
Oh, that too.
And House of Guinness is a Netflix show which all drops in the same day.
Yeah, but also it doesn't look that good.
Yeah, well, I've seen a few exciting clips of it, let's say that. But I think my favourite quote that I've seen from a review is that it's like steampunk Mr. Tato. So if you're Irish, you know, Tato is our national crisp, or national chip if you're not Irish. So apparently it's very Irish and not very accurate by any means.
It is supposedly very just drama for drama, but Diddly Eye is layered on like a thick, crusty mess atop a pint of Guinness.
Yes, yes.
That's been left out in the sun for too long.
So it wouldn't be in our wheelhouse, but I wonder if you're enjoying it. Let us know, Jerome.
Yeah, no, and if it is good, please come back and let us know.
Absolutely.
Happy to always find shows that theoretically are outside of my wheelhouse that I end up enjoying. There is a very fun procedural called High Potential right now. That is just silly procedural crime of the week.
Yeah.
Comedy / that is based on a French TV show. It's on Disney Plus, Hulu, and all that stuff, depending on where you are. And yeah, just outside my wheelhouse, but very fun.
It's got Dee from Always Sunny in it as the main character, isn't it?
Yes.
I kind of watch anything that she's in after 18 years of Always Sunny, so I will definitely check it out. Excellent. But absolutely great to hear from you, Jerome.
Yes, thank you so much, Jerome, and please keep those voicemails coming, and your questions too.
We also have a bit of feedback on the episodes so far of The Boys from Keith Murray. He says, "Hi Chris, Derek and John. I'm loving Gen V Season 2 and the mystery element that the episodes are starting to delve into. I originally thought that the burnt body in the chamber was Stormfront from The Boys. I think she was in the chamber like that at some point. But then I figured that this is Thomas Godolkin. He was burnt in that fire from the first episode. He's been controlling the body of the Dean all season. This explains Marie not sensing V in his blood. It's a human meat puppet. As to how he has been surviving so long, maybe he draws some life force from the people he controls. Of course, this theory may be disproven in the next episode, but maybe not. Thanks for all the work, and the podcasts are great." Keith.
Thanks, Keith. Yes, this is the prevailing theory. This is my personal theory too. Less the life force, because I think there is just multiple meat puppets, and I think he's just like living in a hyperbaric chamber and like Bubble Boy and fed with apple and stuff like that. So he's just...
See a lot of that this episode, yeah.
He is 100 and something. He has Compound V in his system, so we know he at least is slower aging like our friend Soldier Boy.
Yes.
So definitely something to discuss more further in this episode as we get into it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's something that happened in this episode, but you probably saw, Keith, now at this stage that helps to prove your theory, I think. Still not certain, as even by the end of the episode, as to exactly what's happening, but I think you're pretty close on your theory. Great stuff, Keith. Thanks for that.
Yes, thank you so much, Keith. Now, over on Spotify, Derek has to eat some humble pie as young Trey Lee had some feedback on our episode 3 podcast saying, "Of course it didn't matter now, but the mimic power would give her the power, but not turn her into Jordan. She didn't turn into Emma."
Very good point. Yes, Chris, you may remember I ran away with myself a little bit back in episode 3 and had a theory about the character Harper, who was revealed as a mimic that could mimic all the other Soup's powers. And I was thinking, oh, maybe she mimicked Jordan and was the one that made the speech on stage. And it will turn out in the next episode that Jordan hadn't made the speech at all and they were getting all the blame for it. But actually, no, that was the massive setup for why they were going to have a big fight between Marie and Jordan. And there was no mention at all of the mimic Harper. And exactly as young Trilly points out here, there's no way that would have happened because the power isn't to turn into Jordan being able to turn into other Jordans. It would just turn her into a male version of herself and a female version of herself. So it wouldn't make a difference. So, yeah. Good one, young Trilly, but thanks for pointing that out. I don't mind getting corrected on those silly little theories that I have at some time, but it was a fun theory while it lasted, which was about 3.5 seconds until I thought about it after the podcast.
Which happens so often.
So quickly.
Often.
Oh, Jim, can you imagine how it happens, Chris, when I'm sitting down editing the podcast after we've recorded it and I'm going, why did we say something like that?
That's probably happened way more than we would like to admit.
Yes, many, many times. I hardly ever edit them out to make me look better, I promise.
Hardly.
Great stuff. Let's get into the podcast on this week's episode. And thanks once again for the feedback over on Spotify, the voicemail feedback and email feedback. All ways you can get in contact with us if you want to get in contact with us about Gen V. You can email us to the feedback at tvpodcastindustries.com. email address. You can pop all over to our Facebook group at facebook.com/group/TV Podcast Industries, or you can leave a comment over on Spotify at any of the episodes on Spotify. It's kind of a cool way to get in contact with us while you're listening to our terrible theories, pointing out when they're wrong as well. And just a reminder, we are continuing our Gen V pub quiz later on in the episode. We will reveal our next question, and at the end of the season, just gather together all 8 answers to the questions and email us to that email address, and you could be in with the chance of getting your hands on some Gen V goodies.
Yes, but I think it's about time we get into our discussions. But first, as always, I will ask Derek, can you tell us who gave us what, where, when, and how with the episode details?
Yes, this show, of course, is developed by Craig Rosenberg and Evan Goldberg with Eric Kripke, based on the comic series by Gareth Ennis and Derek Robertson, and executive producers on the show are Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. This episode was directed by Karen Gaviola, who directed 2 episodes of season 4 of The Boys, and the episode was written by Lauren Greer. Lauren was an executive story editor back in season 1 of Gen V, and also was one of the contributing writers to Jumanji, the 6th episode of season 1, not the movie or any of the movies.
I was like, ooh.
No, the 6th episode of season 1, Chris.
Okay, that was still a good one too.
It certainly was. It certainly was. And Chris, in John's absence, do you want to give us the synopsis for Gen V season 2, episode 5? The kids are not all right.
Crikey, sure. No.
That's
Crikey,
Australian. Chris.
Australian. Sure.
We've never even been to Australia.
This is what we're sticking with. John is now Australian.
Okay.
1 month ago, Dean Cipher was looking after his father when Sister Sage arrived to give him a housewarming gift. She playfully slapped Cipher, and then they had sex in the bathroom as the Dean's incapacitated father watches on. After using her expanded power set to beat Jordan at Unsafe Spaces battle, Cipher forces Marie to continue training by threatening to take her and her friends back to Elmira with Cate, whom he had imprisoned. Knowing how terrifying the detention center is, Marie convinces Jordan and Emma to rescue Cate. Emma is scared they're going to get captured without a very strong soup on their side. She tries to recruit Sam to join them, but he refuses, since he has returned to his childhood home trying to make amends with his estranged parents. Sam's trip home is full of revelations. He had always believed the compound V inside his body is what broke his brain, but learns from his mother that they handed him over to the vault because they were scared of what he might do when he was a child due to what his mother believes is hereditary mental instability. Meanwhile, at the attempted prison break, Marie, Jordan, and Emma enter Elmira but are instantly captured and placed in cells inside the facility. Back at Godolphin, Polarity confronts Cipher about the death of his son Andre. The Dean unabashedly tells him that he died when Cipher tried to enhance his powers. At home, following the revelations, Polarity suffers a serious and severe seizure and falls to the ground. To try and persuade Marie to finally give in to his training, Cipher shows her that he is holding her estranged sister Annabeth. Working together with Cate, the group escapes their cells. But when they reach Annabeth's cell, they find her dead. In her grief, Marie's powers develop further, successfully manipulating Annabeth's cells and blood to revive her.
Good correction there, Chris, on the synopsis, because it's so difficult when they're in cells in a prison and you're dealing with cells of blood as well. Yeah. So, yes, well done. Thanks for that. But yeah, what a moment. We've got the resurrection powers of Marie on display in this episode. Whoa.
She's essentially Lazarus.
Well, she's essentially Jesus.
Yeah.
Lazarus was the resurrected one, Chris. So Annabeth is Lazarus, I guess.
Yeah. She's gonna turn her blood into wine very soon. Then.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's how the miracles worked in the Bible. It's been a while since I've read it.
Yeah.
We just know the ones we like, being able to walk on water so you can cross that lake really quickly to get home after getting drunk on all the water you've turned into wine.
Yes,
all the important miracles. Great stuff. Well, I think it's time to get into our chat about the points that stood out to us in this episode. As usual, we talk about our minor moments, the freshman moment, the one that stood out to us and maybe may never get out of our heads. We talk about our sophomore moment, the medium moment from the episode, and the major moment in the episode. Chris, do you want to start with your freshman moment for the episode?
Sure. It's a quick one, but it is one that's going to stick with me, which is essentially Cate getting put into Elmira.
Yes.
And the fragility of the character. And again, the actress herself is just really portraying it well.
Yeah, Maddie Phelps is great in this, yeah.
Yeah, as they strip search her, they remove her wig, they remove her arm. And again, even just the invasive cavity search, I'm assuming is the best way of putting it.
Yeah.
And then they get her dressed, but like they won't even give her some privacy to turn around. I understand this is what happens in jails.
Absolutely.
And that is what one of the things the boys is good at, which is sometimes shining a light on society and things like that. And see, this is what we see. The character of Cate tries to use her powers, goes very badly.
Yeah.
That security guard is never going to have kids.
Nope.
That is a serious shock to the system.
It certainly is. Yeah, it certainly is. Wow. She, I don't know whether I'd rather be controlled by Cate when she had control of her powers or now, because it seems like what happens to someone when you get controlled by her powers now is way worse than it was when she controlled you and you just didn't know what you were doing and you just felt compelled to do what she told you to do. Now you'll end off having sex with a gnome or frying your own genitals with an electric rod. Like, that's not good, is it?
No.
Really is not good.
No.
And then the guy later on stuffs the keys into his own eyeball when she asks for the keys. So yeah, it's like when she tries to push someone now, she pushes them over the edge into horrific territory, really, doesn't she?
I think it's just the chaos and randomness of her powers of like control. It's like she said, grab your keys, put them in and let me out.
Yeah.
And grabbing your keys and letting me out is not putting the keys in the lock. It's putting them in your eye socket.
Yeah.
Key socket, eye socket. It's close.
I don't know.
But anyway, that will stay with me.
Yes,
it's the visible viciousness of Gen V.
Yeah, and I think also, as you say, Maddie Phillips plays such the role so well here, and she's been in such a privileged position in God You. You know, that she doesn't really realize that she's in a prison here. She thinks the dean sent her into detention almost, but it is a detention center as opposed to actual detention. So when she's told to strip and have a strip search, she's kind of going, as you say, she's asking for privacy, and you don't get privacy when you're being strip searched in case you're carrying a weapon. Like, you know, that would kind of defeat the whole purpose of it. So she just doesn't realize the situation that she's actually in here. And I love that is talked about in the conversation between Marie and Jordan and Emma, that they're all very strong people, they're all very strong characters, but every bit of that fell away when they went to this place. So Cate's about to have that experience, basically. So, yeah. Jordan
cried themselves to sleep every night.
Exactly, yeah.
Definitely. What about yourself? What's your freshman moment for this episode?
I think the one for me that I'm going to talk about is the revelation about Andre. Conversation between Dean and Polaris, Dean Cipher and Polaris over dinner, I guess, sort of, where once again, Dean Cipher is surprisingly candid about how everything has happened. He knows everything that's going on. He knows that Polaris has been investigating him. He knows he's been talking to everybody in the school, everybody that he can get his hands on to find out more and more information about what the dean is doing. His investigation is not a private investigation that Polaris might think he's having. And he knows he wants to ask about what happened to Andre. We've heard previously throughout the rest of the episodes that Andre was trying to escape from Elmira, trying to save everybody, and they have told us, the other characters have told us, that him trying to keep the doors open for too long led to him effectively dying from pushing his powers too far. Dean Cipher here says, no, it was an experiment conducted by me. I pushed him too far and his body wasn't able to take the pushing that I was doing to him. And he died because of that. Sad, but that's the experiment, basically. Then he does the thing that is definitely going to stay in my head after this episode, where he stabs himself in his own hand, then stabs Polaris's meat, which he's just ordered for his lunch, and leaves the room, saying, now you've got the information that you want, basically. So it's another odd moment for Dean Cipher, and it's another moment where you question whether this person is the person that's actually talking, or is, as our feedback said, and as you mentioned earlier on, is Dean Cipher just a shell of a person being controlled by someone externally?
Yeah.
Like as we've speculated, Thomas Godolkin, you know?
Exactly. Meat puppet.
Yeah.
Literally. And that's what a meat puppet, you stick it with a knife. No, and that one does stick. And I thought that was that line that he gave to Polaris was just a way to almost incite Polaris to do something.
Maybe, yeah.
But we learn later that is backed up by a character when they're back in Elmira. That the wording they use, and we'll talk about it later, it's just very much that, he pushes all of them there.
Yeah.
Anyone who's in Elmira is an experiment to him, and it's a controlled experiment, whereas in Godolkin U, they're not. There's less control.
Yeah, well, they can walk out of the room and come back later. If you're in the prison, you have full control over them, and it is an experimental prison, effectively, very similar to what we saw underneath God U last season with Dean Shetty and what she was doing. So regardless of what the protestations, I guess, from Dean Cipher about him being a better super Dean than Shetty was, because Shetty was trying to create a weapon to kill them all, he's trying to create a weapon to potentially kill all humans or do something. We don't know what his outcome is, but he's doing something very similar to what Shetty was doing, experimenting on the teens that are going to God U.
Yep.
But yeah, that is my moment that sticks out. I'm not sure whether I'm going to eat a steak this weekend. I do like bloody steak, but not when human blood is mixed in with it through the knife.
Yeah.
Why couldn't he just stab a piece of the veg or something?
And it was Wagyu.
I know.
Wagyu beef as well.
I know. Not
That's
great.
expensive.
Yes.
No, not at all.
I love when he actually says when he's walking out, you can finish your dinner. It won't bother me. Like, I'm not going to finish that. I don't care how bloody expensive it was. Anyway, let's move on to our sophomore moments from the episode. Again, Chris, do you want to take us away with your medium moment from the episode?
Sure. I do want to talk about this Sister Sage and Cipher.
Yes.
This
our
moment.
Cameo from this episode, yeah.
Yes. I was not expecting Sister Sage.
No.
So they had told us in marketing that there was going to be characters crossing over.
Yes.
From the boys back and forth.
Absolutely.
From the boys universe, I should say. So the boys proper and Gen V, we'd seen Cate and
Sam.
We had seen Cate and Sam cross over at the end of the boys last season, and we had heard that other characters would be crossing over, vice versa.
Yeah.
And we've seen Starlighter already. I was assuming Homelander would pop in again at some point. Sister Sage was a unique choice for me. It makes sense when you start to think about it.
Absolutely.
But Sister Sage, and then the having her kink on Joe, is an interesting turn of events. So this does very much. Up until this point, I had just started to think that. So Cipher was Cipher, and Godolkin, maybe the son of Godolkin, who had been implanted with V and things like that. The terminology of meat puppets, the scene in the bathroom where Cipher is cleaning Godolkin's body, Sage comes in, they have a conversation, Sage and Cipher have sex, in very much cooking Godolkin. It's only to the point where she covers Cipher's face and looks at Godolkin, and Godolkin looks back, that I'm like, oh, okay. We knew that from the very first episode that Godolkin and the others of the Project Odessa injecting themselves with a variation form of Compound V. Now, Godolkin we're not 100% on.
Yes, exactly.
But
He tries to stop all the rest of them. They all die.
Yes.
He doesn't reach the alarm in time. We think this is his burnt up body, yes.
Yes. So what I can make some assumptions is that essentially because he was burned to a crisp, some form of Compound V got in him somehow.
Yeah.
He injected himself because he was going to die or whatever. And essentially he has the power to essentially control puppets, or people like puppets. That is his power.
Yeah. Because it does feel like in that sex scene with Sister Sage that the reason why she's covering Cipher's eyes is that she's making eye contact with the person that she's having sex with, which is the body in the bath, effectively.
Yes, exactly.
That she's not having sex with the body that she's on top of. She's having sex with the guy in the bath. So she's
100%.
making eye contact. It's such an interesting and messed up Gen V way of thinking, but yeah.
Yeah, and but then it starts to actually connect, and you're like, oh, okay. Cipher's a way of decoding something. So essentially, Dean Cipher is essentially a meat puppet, and the way of the power of Godolkin that he gets is the power to decode and control and read someone.
Yeah.
That type of approach. So I was just like, okay, this is a really interesting way. And it all stems from, as you said, it's the most boys' way of telling us that because Sage and him have sex. And do the nasty in a way that I'm like, oh, right.
Yes.
There you go. You've given us all the points. Now, it's just an interesting, very much just a interesting boys moment.
Absolutely. And I think, the fact that it is Sister Sage here and not any of the other characters within the boys universe, it says a lot, because what we've heard so far is that Marie could potentially be the most powerful of the Supes, more powerful than Homelander. And what we know for an absolute fact from how Sister Sage acted in season 4 of The Boys is that she is not going against Homelander. She is doing everything she can to keep Homelander in the power that he is. She told him, trust me, I will get you there. It may not look like I am, but I am working for you. I'm working with you because it's fun. It's the most challenging thing in the world to keep someone like Homelander in power, and she's enjoying that challenge. So that's the really interesting part. I think we hear again here that Sister Sage is now the CEO of Vought as well. So she has taken over that position now, so she's gotten that prime position by doing everything that she did in season 4 to get Homelander into the leadership position that he's in now. So I would suggest that the fact that she's here does change that conversation that we've heard, that Marie may not be more powerful than Homelander, may not be being set up to beat Homelander, that there's another plan in there with Sage, because she's always got 4, 5, 6 steps ahead, right?
You should do it, yeah. And we'll discuss Marie later, kind of as our kind of senior moments.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's my medium sophomore moment. What about yourself?
Excellent. I want to talk about Sam, because we missed him last week when he wasn't there. He was quite a central character in season 1, and I don't think he missed an episode. Maybe one episode he wasn't in season 1, and he missed last week's episode because it was much more focused on the battle between Jordan and Marie. So they did that little previously on moment at the beginning of the episode where he was sitting down with Jordan, and Jordan said to him, why don't you go home and visit your family? And he said his family hates him, but he's decided to go and see his mom and his dad back at home. And I really like this because it does put into context, I suppose, the whole story of what's happened to Sam. I really like that there's this relationship between his parents, that effectively they thought he was dead when Vought took him away. They had a funeral for him. The father describing that his mom didn't talk for an entire year after they learned that he was dead because she was unable to process what had happened. And then they lost Luke, his brother. It was the character played by Patrick Schwarzenegger in the first season. The catalyst for the entire series kicking off. Yeah, Golden Boy. He was called back in episode 1. But they lost both sons, and then he turns up in their house. unexpectedly. Now they do know he's alive. There is a line about that their father, of course, saw him on TV with all the antics that went on last season. But can you imagine what that must have been like for them? They lose their eldest son, and then suddenly on TV they see their youngest son, who they thought was dead 5, 6, 7 years ago. And now he's back in their house. It's just really interesting because it's so tentative. Sam is that character that can just break off at any moment. He can go in any direction, whatever way he takes a comment from either of them. There's a moment where it's a really heartfelt moment where he's reconnecting with his dad in his room, and he tells his dad to measure him against the wall, and they get a hug between the two of them, and then he sees his mom out the window on the phone and instantly thinks she's calling Vought, so runs outside to confront her about it, and then knocks his dad over by accident. Could have easily killed him, could have easily hurt him very seriously. We hear later that he didn't. But yeah, it's just a really volatile situation. And hearing more about what happened to Sam and how his parents have been affected by this whole thing, it was really interesting. And the big revelation that comes out of this, Sam has always blamed V for what happened to him. He's always blamed the compound V and what Vought did to him for the type of person he is. The fact that he sees crazy puppets when he's thinking he's interacting with the world around him. Everything's talking to him in puppet style. And it turns out that actually is something that could be hereditary, or at least within the family. His mom describes to him that he had an uncle who when he was young, took a gun out, walked into a petrol station and opened fire. So she didn't want that to happen to someone like Sam, who had a very similar pre-existing condition. So she thought Vought was the answer to that. She thought playing him full of compound V might be the way to control him.
Yeah. And her messed up genes, as she says.
Yeah. Yeah. And she takes the blame for it, through her genes. Yeah.
This is huge. This whole thing. It does go through an arc as a mini story, in that you think something's up, you think there's an issue, you do think she might be onto Vought. You do then learn that they went to Godolkin to see Sam and were told by Vought Sam did not want to see them. So that's why additional contact was not made.
Yeah.
It gets then to this point about some deep mental issues, genetic. And you're like, wow, this is an interesting bit where, her brother was already an issue and had problems and was unknown. Was he taken out by the cops or taken down by the cops? She says you were taken down by the cops. I wasn't sure how that meant that the cops then killed the brother or took him, arrested him, but there's a variation on that. Yeah. I think we're led to believe it could be either.
I think it depends on how long the series goes on and whether they need an uncle character that's similar to Sam to connect with, or whether they're going to end it this season and not have to have the uncle character come in. But they've let their take it down or taken out. Taken out would probably be he was killed. Taken down is probably he's been put in a facility somewhere for Sam to meet him at some later stage if we need to have that character on the table.
Exactly. And I think it then gets into the genes, and she thought that Vought and Compound V would potentially solve the issue, where actually it compounds the issue, literally, because when you give someone with those mental characteristics, super strength and vulnerability, the power of flight, and other stuff, it gets weird.
It absolutely can, and it does certainly for this character. Yeah. Poor
and
Sam.
we see just the accidental issue where we see Sam. I don't want to say lashes out, but it is essentially he lashes out at his dad as his dad just tries to calm him, and I hear a crack. It was enough of a whack, so I was like, "Oh, that dad might have some broken ribs, or at least." Sprained ribs after that point. And it's just an interesting pickle that they've kind of thrown onto this.
Absolutely. And you're right, there was a moment where I was kind of going, there's a reason his mom's the only one coming to him, and yeah, your dad's fine. He's no problem at all. He's just resting up inside. I'm going, oh no, I don't know whether it is or not. I'm still unsure whether she was making that call to Vought or not. That Sam catches throughout out the window and confronts her about. I like that they've kept it, that we're seeing a lot of this through Sam's eyes, so we're seeing how he's reacting to things, and it's still a possibility that she's not on the level, that she's lying to him, and that she's working for Vought in some way. That's still entirely a possibility. So
yeah. I
love that they keep those possibilities on the table. There's no flashback to the moment that the original thing happened and had them all crying, giving him up to Vought to correct it. It's all in dialogue. The father's kept off screen after Sam knocks him over. So yeah, all these things could again be possibly twisted to control Sam again, because they do want Sam to be on their side again, right? They want to keep him as this massively powerful character that's working for Vought, right? So
he is pretty invulnerable. Like, we learned that from the garden in season 1, where a lot of the tests on him via his blood and his cells and stuff showed how impregnable his biology is. Vought, could be wanting him back, going, can we please, get him? Thank you.
Send him back to the sleeper agents that we called his parents. That's his home address. Yeah, sure. But I also thought when he landed outside his parents' house, and you see the concrete crack underneath his feet as he lands from his flight there, I was reminded of Homelander for the first time with Sam specifically. It's like as if he is that unhinged power is similar to Homelander. He doesn't really care about the concrete outside someone's house. He's not delicately landing outside like Superman would. He's landing with real forceful power like Homelander would to make a statement, so I'm wondering what's going to happen to Sam. But really cool to have this kind of side story with him and him down there with his parents. And also interesting that he turned down the offer to go and save Cate along with Emma and Jordan and Marie. Emma called him up and he said no, because he's down here doing this, and because Cate messed with him as well. He's not really a friend of hers. She was just pushing him to do what she said effectively, and calming him using her powers. So interesting what came to mind from Sam was just, no, it's fine. Thanks so much. You go off. Best of luck to you. I'll see you again soon, hopefully.
I think this is the catalyst for him to become a good guy.
Maybe.
The fact that I think that what his mum is basically saying is, no, look, what you choose to do now is how you choose how you control your powers. And it's how you control your issues, how you control your problems, your genetics, be it your powers or your thing. I think that's going to be the catalyst when he finds out that the kids are taken. And because they set that up quite nicely.
They did.
Which essentially... the Mimic's brother, who can fly and is a stoner, essentially Emma and him share a moment, and she tells him to go to Polaris. Yeah. There you go. Bish bash bosh.
If you don't hear from me in 24 hours, go to Polaris. And Sam's also been told they're going to Elmira. So 2 people know where they are. 2 very strong and powerful people, because they said brother Greg is quite powerful and he could take Sam's place potentially going to Elmira, but he's left behind, and he's told that in 24 hours if they don't come back, go and talk to Polaris, who we know has had an incident and is on the floor of his house as well. So that's a way of saving Polaris and a way of knowing somebody might be coming to Elmira to get our heroes out as well. So that's good. Yeah, well done for setting all that up. That's great.
There you go.
Excellent. Let's get on to our senior major moments from the episode. I think I'm going to start this one, if that's all right, Chris.
Yeah. You set it up well.
Yeah, my major moment is the death and resurrection of Annabeth in Elmira, but really it should be the breakout of Elmira and the plan to get the plan to free Cate. But God, that goes down quickly. It's about 3.5 seconds. And it just, I suppose the reason for that, and they talked about it multiple times in the planning, is that they are so ready for anything that the Supes can throw at them. They don't realize they're college kids. Yes, they have powers, but they're college kids. They don't realize how many decades, almost a century, that Vought has been dealing with people like them, acting out, using their powers. They try and go back in the place that Marie had broken out of from Elmira earlier on in the year during the summertime, and they find that it's completely filled up with cement and effectively must be covered in cameras or at least a tripwire, because the second that they realize that it's been blocked by cement, the security guards of Elmira are surrounding them and dragging them away. So much so that genuinely when I watched this episode for the first time, I went, it's a dream. You know, the way they just got knocked out with gas or something, and now they're dreaming the nightmare that it would be to be back in Elmira. Nope. The nightmare is made real in 20 seconds. You know, they can't do anything at all. They're back inside. They've all got their powers doxed by Dr. Golds. They can't use their powers. They are stuck inside. So
only Marie is kind of given a shot on anticoagulant to stop her using her power.
Mm-hmm.
The other two have just the shock collars.
Yes, exactly.
And then Emma is in a plexiglass cell that just
no holes where she can get out, and she
Yeah.
can't shrink, or else she will be shocked as well. So so sorry, they haven't had their powers removed. Of course, sorry, I didn't mean it to make it sound like that. I just meant that they have had they're put in the position just like they were over the course of the summertime, where they were stuck in Elmira. None of them can use their powers to get them out of there. They are all stuck in there. So that was the big surprise to me, I suppose, because you're thinking it's the Prison Break episode. They were already in prison. They broke out of prison off screen, or at least Marie did. The other two were taken out of prison, and now they're back in prison again. You know, makes you realize, I suppose, how powerful Vought are and how much abilities they have to stop a soup if they really want to.
And it's great because again, it shows how much I love the character of Emma, where the flashbang smoke kind of trank grenade, gas grenade goes off. She goes, "I told you it was a trap," and then passes out. Yep, that's Emma. 100%. Yep. She said those things.
Yes,
and I do enjoy. You're right. It's all quickly set up, and it's actually from that point where we learn from Cipher that Elmira is just a massive experiment for him with controls and stuff. So as we learn more and more about them and what they do in Elmira and stuff, you can say, if a rat finds a way out of a maze during an experiment, they block that.
Yeah.
And that's happened here.
Exactly.
They just basically put the 3 rats back into the rat race, the maze.
Yeah. See if they can find a way out now. Yeah, and that's kind of the next arc of what's happening in the episode. They work together with Cate, because I suppose it's a bit of a surprise that Emma's been put in the plexiglass cell directly outside of Cate's cell, in direct visibility of Cate, until you realize, exactly as you said, that Cipher is just building this entire place like a maze for rats to get out of. You know, he's done that on purpose. You know, he wants them to break out. He wants them to feel like they're free, and then wants to pull the rug out from underneath Marie specifically, by showing her the body of her sister Annabeth. He's already introduced her to the fact that she's in the prison. She knows exactly where Annabeth's being held, so that when she does try to break out, he knows exactly where she's going to go, and he's left her body there effectively, to push her into using even more power than she's ever used before. So it's such an interesting, again, another interesting way of telling this story. You see Marie pulling every piece of power from around her. All the girls that are around her, all of their noses are bleeding from the exertion that Marie is going through trying to resurrect her sister Annabeth. And it succeeds.
Yeah. This is the one I was like, I want to know more. I want to know the X-9.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's just what exactly? Because I thought it was just she was a blood bender. She could control the cells within blood. And I think we're learning more and more, which is like, hold on, maybe it's not that. It goes beyond.
Yeah, I think the big thing about this show and this season, and this is what you always do in a season 2 of a show. If you're getting a season 2 of a show, you expand the mythology significantly. Yeah. You know, the moment when Dean Cipher was talking to all of the soups, who he was training on in his program, but specifically Marie, where he was asking them all, how does your powers work? And they tell him what they do as opposed to how they work. He doesn't care about how they work for you because that's how you've learned to work them, you know. He has been disgusted by the idea that Marie cuts herself to use the power of her blood, and turns it into these, you know, chains and whips and other weapons. That's what she's been doing because that's how she's learnt to use it herself on her own. But if she understood what it is that her power actually does it control, as you say, the blood cells? Does it control the red blood cells as opposed to white blood cells? What does it actually do? What is it that her power really is behind it all? In this case, does she have a blood clotting ability? Is she able to force blood back into the body to bring someone back to life, push it around the system long enough to bring their heart back to life and resurrect them almost? Is that a power that she has? And he's taken it to the extreme by actually killing Annabeth in the room. They test her and see she has no pulse, but she creates a pulse by effectively... I think, anyway, by effectively pushing the blood back round her body because she hasn't been dead very long, I suppose, would be the reason for that, which, again, tells you something else about Dean Cipher. He's watching them the whole time. It's not like her body's been there for a day and a half or for a couple of hours or directly after they left the room. They obviously have been watching on. They know how soon they're going to get to the cell to Annabeth's, but I doubt she's going to be going around resurrecting loads of dead people from past seasons. I think it is something that you would have to be very close to the death of the character, and then she'd be able to resurrect them. But it's quite a big cliffhanger moment for the episode. Yeah, no, and it does really set up nicely the next 3 episodes as a kind of the next episode is the actual get out of Elmira. Or is it?
Yeah, well, I think it is, and then I think the 7th is essentially the pre-finale where you set up all the characters, and then we have our big finale again. See, I'd say I don't know. I feel like they've burnt the bridge to get out of the prison by stopping to save the life of Annabeth. Remember, the alarms hadn't gone off. They were questioning. Hang on a second. This seems pretty easy. The alarms haven't gone off for ages. They suddenly go off as if someone's going, oh, they've noticed the alarms aren't going off yet. Oh, they've noticed the security guards haven't been released yet. Push them down that hallway to go to Annabeth and save her now, and then we'll swarm around them. I think they're going to be back in their cells again at the start of next week's episode because that's exactly where Dean Cipher wants them for the moment until he's got his plan in motion, I think. I think so. I think you're right. I think it's just, I think it has to end with them back out on campus
at the end of the season. I think we're going to be out in the world. So I think we're going to have one episode back on campus, probably episode 7. Next episode will be a lot based around here, but who knows? These things move really fast. But I think by the end of the season, we will have them joining up in the fight with the Starlighters, so that they're ready for the return of the boys in season 5. Which moves into my major moment, which is, what is Marie? And that's kind of what we just chatted about there, which is I'm trying to understand what they're setting up with her. Because I'm playing myself as Jordan, which is like, what does he want? Just talk plainly. Like, Cipher is speaking in riddles, and he's just like, I'm like, one moment he said, you're stronger than Homelander, you could be more powerful. Power is subjective. It can be strength. I think people took it as strength. I think it's more than that now. So, and we know it's Project Odessa. She is the last, only living surviving that we are aware of. Outside of maybe the sister, Annabeth, maybe. We're not sure, but we can. That will be told more in the future. Yeah, because her parents' friends said Annabeth was born with no V at all, with no connection, no IVF or anything like that, no connection at all. But again, she's probably not that trustworthy either. No, so, exactly. Especially now that Annabeth is in the prison. Yeah, exactly. And I think what I'm starting to potentially think is that from this resurrection piece, we know that V cannot be separated out of the blood from Soups. Like, that's kind of what we've always been told. Like once V's in, it's in. Except unless it's the temp V that, say, like Huey and the rest of them take. Yes. Which is that one that just gives a human temporary
random powers.
And eventually kills them, yes.
And eventually kills them.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the whole reason that she can be more powerful is essentially is that Marie can potentially burn off V. She can remove V from someone's system.
Interesting.
Because she can separate, she can control blood cells. And we always say that you can you can see the V in their blood. It's part of them at a genetic level. Like, I think it's something to do with that, which is, yeah, she's more powerful than Homelander because she could essentially make Homelander human.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could be cool, yeah.
Like, she can turn off the V within people's systems.
She could strip their blood of V. Yeah. Wow.
And I think that's an interesting kind of piece where you go, oh, okay, well then that does make her the most powerful soup because therefore she can stop soups. She can negate powers almost.
Love it, Chris.
And I think that's a nice idea. It's essentially the kill switch. Yeah. We know Godolkin was involved in Homelander's creation, in Project V, in Compound V creation, all of that. A lot of them had these counter kill switches, which is for their projects, which is essentially, okay, well, we're going to make the ultimate weapon, we're also going to make the ultimate anti-weapon.
And if that kill switch is in the hands of Homelander, which, given that Sister Sage is involved in here, so while it may be that she was created to be the kill switch for Homelander, if he's the one that has his finger on that kill switch, that gives him even greater power, right? So,
he can turn off any soup who goes, actually, I don't want to do this anymore.
Or anyone that goes up against him.
Yep.
Starlight has no further powers because he's used Marie to take those away.
Yep. It's an interesting thing. There's something with the Odessa piece as well, but I'm not sure whether it's just to do with the Odessa mythology or like a kind of Euro-Russian mythology, or it's just a cool sounding kind of Soviet era Russian essentially Euro-Russia kind of project name. So
it's one of those ones where I feel like I haven't done the research properly, and it'll turn out that this is connected to season 2 of The Boys, and we've completely forgotten about 100%. Some mission that they went on, which was connected to Project Odessa, or it feeds into the Soldier Boy series, of course, that's coming up, which is absolutely good. You know,
that's probably it. It's probably they've just used that term, and it's going to be in the Soldier Boy. Yeah. There you go. That's
something like that.
Because it's a nicer. Because the whole thing about Compound V was it came from Nazis, it came from Germany.
Yes.
So I was like, what, that's a Euro-Russian Soviet? I was like, I couldn't connect. I think, it makes way more sense if you just go, well, we're going to put it back into World War II and we're going to make it a Soldier Boy. And
we just haven't seen it yet. And we know Thomas Godolkin was a massive Nazi. So, So, yes.
There you go.
Excellent stuff. Anything else on your major moments, Chris?
No, that's it. I'm just very interested to see where they go with this. I want to see this Cipher versus Marie, what happens in the next episode, because I can see the fight clear as day. I just want to see how far they push it in the next kind of 2 hours.
Yeah.
But that's it. Any notes from yourself about this episode?
Yeah, I've got a couple of fun little notes from this episode that I enjoyed. Loved in the tie back to a month earlier when Sister Sage comes to the house to give her welcoming gift. The gift that she gives is the gnome that the security guard had sex with in last week's episode. So Sister Sage provided the gnome that Dean Cipher thought was really tacky, and it ended off being the love partner, I guess, of the security guard that Cate pushed last episode.
Yeah.
Speaking of something very similar to that, some great little writing here on Sam when he's talking to his mom about the puppet show, the Avenue Q that's on TV. He's looking at the deep and goes, "That guy was in my frat." No, the real guy, not the puppet. And I love that he has to clarify that because he sees puppets everywhere. And also that little fun little moment when his dad brings back the box of toys and takes out the stuffed toy of Maeve, and he goes, "Ooh, I wouldn't touch that. I've used that in my experimental phase." Oh dear. He also mentions that Maeve was dead when he got to the 7. And just the fact that there's the mention of the toy and the mention of Maeve, we know she's not dead because we saw her going off with her partner. But the world believes she's dead. So just the fact that she's still being kept alive in these mentions makes me think she'll be coming back for that final season of The Boys.
I think they have
she will join back up with them.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah. And just the last one I have, is just as Cipher leaves the room when he's having that conversation with Polaris. He goes, I'm having a Zoom with Dana White. Dana White is the head of the UFC. So when he says the fight that happened between Marie and Jordan was massive worldwide, he's getting a call from the head of the UFC, maybe trying to arrange SOUP, Ultimate Fighting League. Yeah.
Sufsy. Yeah, Sufsy.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Great stuff.
Any other notes, Chris? Any other points?
Nothing from myself.
Fantastic.
So, with all that said and done, what's your final thoughts? What's your final take on Gen V episode 5 of season 2? The kids are not alright. Derek.
I really enjoyed this episode because it had lots of twists in it. Didn't expect them to be back behind bars in prison. As I said, thought it was a dream when it happened first, because it just happened so fast. They were so well prepared. I'm still constantly surprised by how open Cipher is if you just ask him the right question. He's like, oh, you just want to know that? Yeah, this is exactly what I did. Which is all feeding into that idea, exactly as your theory is going, Chris, that Dean Cipher is not a real person. He's being controlled by somebody who doesn't really care about what happens to this body of Cipher. He's being way too uncharacteristically forward with everybody else around him. He doesn't really seem to care about the fact that any of these people could just rip his head off. The only power that he's shown is the power to manipulate people, but he hasn't shown that to enough people to scare them into not attempting to attack him. Polaris here attacks him with a steak knife, effectively, which he stops midair. But it just makes me feel like he's a very, very powerful character and probably being controlled by Mr. Godolkin. So, yes, really intriguing episode. Lots of interesting stuff. This show is another one of those shows, especially being a weekly show, that I love watching every single episode. I love how it builds out the universe and builds out the mythology of these characters. And it's a great side story from the main boys' story. I'm enjoying spending time with the show. Chris, how about yourself?
Very much like you. Each episode has been getting better and better, giving us, answering a few questions, posing 5 more. Allowing us to jump on Speculation Station on the train and just kind of enjoy the ride that is kind of that weekly piece of fun that comes from, here's 3 episodes at the beginning of the season to really wet your whistle, and then we're going to take you on this journey for a few weeks, and not long enough to drag it out. And I like that about The Boys. I also like that about this show. I like this universe. I've always enjoyed the over-the-top, I was going to say over-the-topness, but I suppose over-the-top grandiose, kind of bombastic style and writing narrative of Eric Kripke and The Boys universe, and even Diabolical, the animated show. Like, it was all just weird, wacky fun, but also very poignant.
Absolutely.
And that's what we get from Cate's little strip-down search to what the hell is happening with Marie and how it all feeds back into the next final season of The Boys. Just absolutely love it. I'm looking forward to the next episode.
Fantastic. I think before we get on to the next episode and before we get on to feedback, I think we need to have a little drink down our local pub.
Yes.
Or at least the Godolkin University student bar for our Gen V student bar quiz. Chris, we have our 5th question of 8.
Yes. The question is, where did Dean Cipher get the now very bloody Wagyu steak for Polaris delivered from?
Fantastic. Yeah, we've talked a lot about that steak and about that meal.
Yep.
Yeah, I do also like that Dean Cipher is asking Polaris, does he want an assistant? They just keep bringing you things all the time. It's great. Kind of talking about slavery, as we know from earlier on in the season. The humans are absolutely terrified to not do the right thing when they're around the soups, right? So he's kind of talking about, do you want to have a slave who will bring you things at all times to Polaris, I think. Isn't he? But we didn't give out the answer to the question earlier on in the episode. You'll have to go back and watch the episode. Chris, do you want to get the question one more time?
Yes. Where did Dean Cipher get the now very bloody Wagyu steak for Polaris delivered from?
Fantastic. You just need to collect together all 8 correct answers, and at the end of the season, email us to feedback@tvpodcastindustries.com, and you could be able the chance of getting your hands on some Gen V goodies. The quiz for this season, and of course, each of the episodes of TV Podcast Industries are brought to you by our supporters over on Patreon, including Cheryl Jones. Thanks so much, Cheryl.
Thank you so much, Cheryl. And no, we are no relation, but you never know. Maybe all the way back deep in hereditary history, 23andMe, there's a connection there. Who knows?
Who knows? The Joneses always stick together, don't they, Chris?
We do. We're it's the Irish and the English. We're like a really nice STI. You just kind of get everywhere, and we spread every country. So yeah, there's a Jones every country.
There certainly is. But thank you so much, Cheryl, for your support. You can support us monthly for any amount over on patreon.com/TV Podcast Industries. Or if you'd like to support us with a one-off donation, you can pop on over to buymeacoffee.com/TVPI to buy us a coffee. You can also support us by subscribing to the podcast and sharing it with your friends, because remember, sharing the podcast is sharing the love.
Now, we do have some feedback, so I think it's about time we head on over and hear what some of our fellow boys and girls have to say about this show, and particularly this episode. Mm-hmm. First up is an email from the one and only Coffee and Vodka, who had this to say. Greetings, fellow unapprehended defenders. Either Kripke is taking us on a long con or closing down this chapter of the Boysoverse in earnest. This entire season is about creating Bloodburst, Homelander's arch nemesis. And that's about it. Also, it looks like Dr. Meatloaf Godolkin is the puppet master, with Cipher his proxy puppet. On the Boys Season 5 stage, we've got Sage as CEO and Godolkin ally. Is it me, or does it just seem like they're setting up Ashley Vaught Blue form to be anticlimactic? A lot of expectant zigs waiting for their zags. I like that, by the way, Coffee and Vodka. Thank you. Zigs and zags, you gotta love it. Coffee and Vodka went on to say, back to this episode. It was clear to, no doubt everyone, that Marie was going to mount a rescue attempt, and that Cipher was setting her up to do so. Further, he was pushing her into in real life training via Annabeth. Even Jordan could see something was wrong. How do you beat someone who knows your every impulse and move? Finally, it was nice to see Sam get his moment or two. Remain unsure as to what Polarity's tangent is, and Emma was, as always, a true gem. Looking forward to what comes next, with or without a zag, for Jailbreak Barbies, Polar Meltdowns, and Sage Sated Ciphers out of 5. Peace and take care, Coffee and Vodka.
Excellent, Coffee and Vodka. You've just reminded me of one of my favourite Emma moments from the episode, when she looks at Cate, who's been stripped of all her wig and everything, and goes, "You look like Weird Barbie." It's so harsh.
But so true. I love Emma. Thanks, Coffee and Vodka. Yeah, they are. I've given up with trying to usually guess where Eric Kripke and the likes go. I enjoy speculating.
This is an episode where Chris has given a theory as to where he thinks it's going to go, of course.
But in other words, I think I am pretty sure most of my theories are always wrong, because I am still going by what they did in the comic books and what we have very much seen for the last season and a bit of the Boysoverse. Gen V, and then the last one of the boys, is they do zig when everyone thinks they zag, because everyone knows they zagged in the comic books.
Yeah.
Or they do a ziag, which is a combination of zig and a zag.
Wouldn't that just make it a straight line, Chris?
Yes.
If you zig and zag at the same
They
time,
go
just walk
straight for the point.
They know that it's
Straight.
going to end with the death of Homelander at the hands of Billy Butcher, and that's exactly what they're going to do.
Yeah, pretty much.
That is not a
That's all
spoiler
we
for the
want.
comics. I don't know how the comics ended. I didn't get that far, so I didn't read through them as the show has been coming out quickly enough for me to continue with it. Yeah, I'm laughing at another one of your comments here, Coffee and Vodka, where you call Godolkin Dr. Meatloaf. It does remind me of the Rocky Horror Picture Show, of course, as a mix of Meatloaf and Dr. Frankenfurter, which would be hell on earth, really. Yes.
But he's just a sweet, sweet baby.
He is. I just couldn't imagine Meatloaf being in those fishnet tights back in the 70s.
Pretty sure it happened in one of the cinema. If anyone went to the Rocky Horror Cinema experiences, I'm pretty sure it did.
Absolutely. Yes. Thanks so much for your feedback, as always, Coffee and Vodka. We hope to hear from you again for next week's episodes. On to Meryl Smith with her email in for this episode. She says, "Welcome, inmates of Elmira. What an amazing episode we just got, packed with compelling reveals that are clearly setting the stage for an intense remainder of the season, and possibly even laying the groundwork for The Boys Season 5. The narrative tension is building, and it feels like every character is going to have to navigate through one hell of a storm. Once again, I couldn't help but be reminded of the Penguin, especially that moment when Sophia was first put in Arkham." Oh, of course, very good.
Oh,
nice
yeah,
catch
good callback.
Yeah, I like that. Cate being brought into Elmira really echoed that vibe. It was a dehumanizing scene to witness. Maddie Phillips deserves a huge shout out here for her physical performance. She's truly talented. Side note, there's a great interview with her in Variety where she talks about that scene worth checking out. I'm curious how this experience will affect Cate going forward. Will it give her a new perspective on what her friends went through when they were in the facility? It was also great to see Sam again. I would have liked him to interact more with the cast, but his storyline on its own was solid. One of the things I continue to appreciate about this series is how deeply it explores the characters' psyches and emotions. It doesn't shy away from the complexities of this world they're trying to survive in. I did miss the Emma squad in this episode, but maybe there's a bigger plan in the works. Perhaps a future escape mission with Sam's help. That could be a fun twist. Meanwhile, Jordan went through the ringer emotionally. Both London Thor and Derek Liu brought real weight to the experience of Cipher being inside Jordan's body. That confrontation between Jordan and Cipher was a standout moment, possibly hinting at some hidden truth or deeper motive behind Cipher's actions. Speaking of Cipher, what a strategist. He's like a master chess player, casually revealing Cate's location in Elmira, knowing it would provoke a response and move the pieces exactly how he wants. Hamish Linklater is hands down the best addition to the series so far. I really hope he sticks around long enough to share a scene with Anthony Starr. That would be iconic. And then there's Annabeth. I knew she'd appear eventually, but I wasn't expecting it under these circumstances. She did a solid job, and I hope her character sticks around and gets more development. While Cipher's main goal seems to be unlocking Marie's full potential, it's clear the others may benefit as well. Maybe we're heading towards a level up moment for the whole group. I keep getting X-Men First Class vibes from this show, especially in the scene between Cipher and Polarity. It reminds me of that classic knife scene, very Magneto-coded. Also, seeing Sage again was a surprise. I wonder if this is part of her Phase 2 plan she teased at the end of The Boys Season 4. All in all, I'm looking forward to seeing how this mystery continues to unfold. The episode gave us 4 botched prison breaks, staples as salvation, and charcoal body bang sessions out of 5. Can't wait for the next one. Oh, I'm loving the ratings. This is really cool.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Meryl. Hamish is hands down the best addition.
Yeah.
I think in my first episode back on for this season, I said that he'd choose the scenery, and I'm happy with that.
Absolutely.
There are some actors that you're like, okay, you can take a break. You don't need to. It's all about you. But with Cipher, the whole strategist, like there's something going on more behind the scenes. Hamish just embodies that.
Absolutely.
There is that sly smirk with everything said.
Yeah, and I think John pointed out one that I can't get out of my head now. It's great though. Thankfully, it's not annoying at all. He pointed out how he pronounces some words just to let them drop a little longer than everybody else does around him. So listen to the way he speaks next time as well, because if you haven't noticed it so far, he just lets some words hang in the air in a really weird cadence. So it's a cool little touch that he does. So listen to the way he speaks. It's very cool. It's not. I don't think it's indicating anything else. It doesn't
No.
mean anything other than it's just an interesting affectation he's given to the character. It's quite a cool little touch he's given to them. Hamish Linklater is fantastic. He's absolutely loves the show as well. He's done some really great interviews where he says this is one of the most interesting shows he's done. The idea of this whole series being a story about kids in college resisting the world around them and standing up against the horrible forces that are trying to push them down. He said, how could I not be part of a show like this in the environment we're in at the moment? So he loves this.
Nice. I'm really hoping he's in the new series of Carrie that Mike Flanagan is doing. Because he's now part of the Mike Flanagan verse. Mm-hmm. And apparently the only reason he wasn't in The Life of Chuck with Tom Hiddleston is because he was doing this.
Oh, there you go. Excellent.
But they joked about how he's the only one who hasn't come back for a second Mike Flanagan piece. Well, usually so I'm like, please for Carrie, because he would play, we now know he played a good principal, dean of a college.
Yeah.
Anyway.
It'd be kind of cool, and Flanagan has finished his time over at Netflix. He's moving over to Prime Video with Carrie. I think is his first show on Prime Video. So, and here we are with Hamish Linklater over here working on Prime Video, so he can stay in the studio as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Excellent. Thanks so much for your feedback. Of course, Meryl, it's really good to hear from you.
Yes, thank you so much, Meryl, and I can't wait to for your next piece of feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I know you can't wait for the next episode. Over on our Facebook group, facebook.com/group/TV podcast industries, the one and only Dr. Bob Phillips had this to say. So, we see again that Sage is next level kinky, tyrannical, dictatorial queen.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we knew that really from the deep and the skewer, but Cipher's dad? Cate also appears to have a strong kink to her powers, and I think the neurosurgeons need to have their practices examined, as I'm not sure staples really need to be left in that long.
Mm.
We are left with a few questions though. Is Polaris fracturing completely? Does butt-chugging Guy have benefits beyond the physical? How on earth did Jordan get such a good parking spot on uni campus? And can they let us in on the secret?
Very good.
Thanks, Dr. Bob. And yeah, I'm pretty sure he just kind of picked up the car and walked it over at that point.
I actually did go back to Dr. Bob at this specific point, just because I'm pretty sure we know the reason why Jordan got that parking space. It's because they're number one. On the college, and that's not their car. It was given to them when they became number one, and in this episode Jordan tries to hand it on to Marie because she's now become number one. So I think what happened was the reason why they've got the best parking space in the whole place is because they are number one. So you get lots of benefits and perks, I guess, would be the reason, right? Some great points there. Dr. Bob really like the idea that Polaris could be fracturing completely. We mentioned a little bit there. It's just interesting, I suppose, because at the beginning of the season we had thought that Andre had died because he'd pushed his powers too far, and here in this episode we hear Cipher saying it's because Cipher pushed his powers too far in an experiment. So it's a little adds to, it's not just Andre dying from the same thing that his father had.
Yeah.
Although Cipher is aware that Polaris has this the same issue, I suppose. So was it a threat from Cipher saying I could push you as far as as Andre pushed himself? Was that what was coded in there in the conversation? He knows now that he can't kill him with throwing a knife at his throat because Cipher can stop that in the air. So yeah, I don't know. It's a really interesting thing to catch, though.
Yes. Thank you so much, Dr. Bob.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering about those staples. Now, we know, I suppose Cate hasn't really been out of hospital for that long, has she? She's only been out a few days because she came back in episode 3, I think.
Yeah.
Episode 2 or 3, and it's only a couple of days later. So it's not been that long. No. Although maybe there was a much longer build up to that fight than I'm thinking there was. Maybe that was.
I'm thinking it's about a week or two.
Yeah.
But I still think it's enough that there's still a bit of dried blood on it. So
yeah.
I'm like, it's.
The staples need to go out before it starts to really heal, though, doesn't it? That
exactly.
they don't want to heal over the staples. But great
Maybe
stuff.
they do. Maybe they just don't care with soups anymore. It's just like, you're going to set off a metal detector.
Or at least they don't care about Cate anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
She's done them wrong. Always love the medical perspective that Dr. Bob brings as well. Thanks, Dr. Bob.
Yeah, thanks, Dr. Bob. And thanks to all of our boys and girls for their fantastic feedback. As always, much appreciated. Don't forget, you can head on over to tvpodcastindustries.com and you can find all the links to all of our places and you can leave us feedback in all of those places. But you can also write us a review on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and share the love by sharing the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe also at tvpodcastindustries.com. And that is it for this blood-filled coverage of The Boys Gen V Season 2, Episode 5.
Absolutely. We'll be back, of course, next week with The Boys Gen V Season 2, Episode 6. Looking forward to that one. We have just finished our coverage of the excellent Alien Earth, which is available on Disney Plus over here, or on Hulu in the US. I'd highly recommend watching that show and following along with our coverage for the first season. It was a really, really enjoyable show. We also are continuing our coverage of Sandman. We've recorded another episode, and then we will finish that off in the next couple of weeks. And there's one other outstanding show that we haven't covered yet, because, as we joked about, Disney had decided to release their Halloween show before Halloween, at a time that we can't cover it. So we will cover it before Halloween. That is Marvel Zombies, which is really, really well worth the watch. We've been seeing lots of feedback come into our Facebook group on each of the episodes as well. So we'll be talking about Marvel Zombies in the next couple of weeks as well, leading into Horror Halloween, right?
Yes. So if you enjoy Marvel, if you enjoy zombies, make sure you give it a watch and give us your feedback before we record. And we'll hear your dulcet tones, or maybe just your words, on our future podcasts.
Absolutely. I will say once again, just in case you haven't seen it, I will say once again, Marvel Animation is stepping up in terms of the adult content in the Marvel side.
Eyes of Wakanda was amazing.
It's really good.
And so is Marvel Zombies. Two of them were just fantastic.
Yep. I'm very much looking forward to talking about that and talking about all the connections that are in there and all the characters that are in Marvel Zombies, especially the ones that we weren't expecting as well, which would be cool. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you again next time.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. And remember, because I am John right now, keep watching, keep listening, and keep being blood-filled meat puppets.
Bye.
Bye.